One of the beauties, but also the curse of Hydro, is that it's almost applicable to every single person in a different way. There was almost a sense of being greedy, like, oh, we want, the old lady who wants to use it for sarcopenia, the young guy who wants to put on muscle size and strength, female athlete who's got an ACL injury. We want it all. And actually, you can't do that as a business. What we quickly realised is actually creators' place to authenticate the product, and actually our route as a company through Warren and his background was with pro sport. It was becoming clearer and clearer that was the route we needed to go. Ultimately, it sits on my shoulders to go, this is what we're doing. So it became a screw it, just do it moment, really.
Before we get into today's conversation, this is genuinely relevant for a lot of founders listening. Are you running a business that pays suppliers abroad, receives international payments, or operates across borders? World First helps founders manage global payments and FX more efficiently with access to competitive exchange rates and tools designed specifically for growing businesses. World First have given us an exclusive offer for podcast listeners to get 50 transactions completely fee-free for 60 days. Head to worldfirst.com/screwit to create a free account and claim now. Now let's jump into the main conversation.
What was that initial vision when you met your co-founders, when you started having those conversations? Because I'm assuming things moved along, and we'll come to like the pivot later on. But yeah.
So I think at the beginning we probably weren't as clear as we should be. I think one of the things that I've learned as well as the CEO of the company is focus is really important, and actually saying no to some of the opportunities. One of the beauties, but also the curse of Hydro, is that it's almost applicable to every single person in a different way.
Right. And
so at the beginning, there was almost a sense of being greedy, like, oh, we want, the old lady who wants to use it for sarcopenia, staving off muscle loss. Yeah. But we want it, the young guy who's just had, who wants to put on muscle size and strength. We want the female athlete who's got an ACL injury. We want it all. And actually, you can't do that as a business. And it was at the beginning very much thinking was alongside of like the gym consumer. It was at the beginning of the company. Yeah. What we quickly realised is actually the creator's place to authenticate the product, and actually our route as a company through Warren and his background was with pro sports. They already understood the product because they used it, but now we can say you can use it for all these other ways. We had a natural community in there, and we can talk about that later as well, because that's actually really powerful for us as a company. Yeah. And that for us as Hydro, it has done for the last 2 years in particular, the awareness, the credibility, the authentication, the performance stories we get are incredible. And that's just transformed the business. So really focusing on the pro sports and saying, actually, don't worry about D2C consumer at the moment. Don't do the medical stuff just yet. Okay. Do that. And then that's really blown us up as a company.
And tell me, when you pivoted then from that initial idea, what was it like making that decision? How early on was it? And third part to the question, was everyone in agreement?
So it became a screw it, just do it moment, really, because we've been thinking about it for a while. So it was becoming clearer and clearer that was the route we needed to go. There was definite disagreement, and we have some robust conversations in our team, and it should always be the case. We see, again, like, we see the world from our team very differently from the people that are in it, and that's useful. There was, I think by the time we made the decision, I think there was consensus, but we're not 100% there. But then ultimately it sits on my shoulders to go, this is what we're doing. And it is, okay, let's go full hog pro sport. Let's forget everything else. So we had to cut certain things out of the business, screw it, just do it, focus solely on the pro sports element. And then it took off from there. So it's kind of April 2022 is probably really, we doubled down on pro sports. And that was when it just blew up through 2022. And it was with hindsight, the right move. But you can only tell that with hindsight. So I'm sitting here now going, got 80 pro teams. Yeah, I knew it was always going to happen. Didn't, but you made that, we made that decision, and we stuck with it. And focus was the big thing for us, yeah.
Who was the first sports team?
I think it was Leeds Rhinos.
Was it?
Rhinos, yeah, the first one, yeah.
Who would be, for you, like top of the bucket list that you'd want to...
Well, I'm a Liverpool fan, but we've already got.
Too, yes.
We've got some product with Liverpool, but not quite the whole thing embedded. So when it's embedded in Liverpool, I'll be very happy, I think. Yeah.
Have you faced any resistance to adoption?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is this gets quite technical for this podcast maybe, but is like pressure validation. So when you have a normal BFR cuff, you can actually get to a particular pressure. Now, there's a lot of research on this, which is actually you don't need it. It needs to be within a range, and we sit very nicely in the range.
Okay.
And we've got the studies that show that. So we've proven it in lab settings. So we had to get that publication done, and now we have it. It's a much easier conversation to say, actually, this publication shows we're in the range of pressure, which then mitigates the issue that you had. So that was probably the big thing which we had to overcome. And again, it was useful going to practitioners first, because then you get that feedback before you go anywhere else with it. So that was probably the big thing. Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of results have athletes been getting using it?
So really impressive ones, thankfully. I mean, a really good story is Cam Norrie, actually. So Cam started, obviously British #1 tennis player. So he started using Hydro. He was introduced to it around about Wimbledon time. He started using it, and he really intrinsically believed in it. He felt better for it. So he was using it for a particular issue at the time. It solved that issue. He then baked it into his preparation and his recovery, which is obviously why he was doing it at the moment when he showed me the picture. And he uses it all the time. And what happened with Cam and actually his team is that they believe in the product so much that Cam invested in Hydro, his physio invested, his other physio invested, his strength and conditioning coach invested, and one of his best mates invested.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just
5 for the price of one.
Yeah, it's true belief in the product.
Wow.
And then with some of the studies we're seeing, for example, like 82% reduction in fatigue. We're seeing something like 30% reduction in joint pain. So we're seeing real metrics that we can actually start to quantify.
Yeah.
And we've got a big pipeline of research at the moment across a number of sports teams, which will hopefully show more of those kind of metrics that we can then talk about as well.
Interesting. And there was me after my what was it, about 12k on Sunday, on Monday morning, suddenly feeling this knee pain, and sat there with my Tiger Balm and my hot water bottle.
Yeah, we'll get you some shorts. Get you some shorts.
Trying to figure out what's going on here then.
Yeah, definitely get you some shorts.
Interesting. I appreciate it. So, and also, I always just think, when it comes to different sports, when you've got elite athletes who give you that buy-in, who are the top 0.1% of tennis players in the world, or motor racing drivers, etc. Do you get that kind of buy-in with a sports team, as opposed to, like, tennis is a very individual sport, and I would say F1 is the same, even though there's a couple of drivers, there's clearly massive competition in the different teams. What are your thoughts on that when it comes to teams versus, like, individual sports?
In terms of buy-in in particular. So it's interesting because with a team, well, actually with both, for us the route is always through the coach anyway. So in the first instance it's through coach, and we use our network for that. Yeah. So the coach understands how to do it. In kind of like Cam's case, it was through his physio. In most of the teams, it's through S&C coaches or physios. Can be anything, or performance coaches. They then give it to the athletes, educate them how to use it, and we help with that. Getting player buy-in is incredibly important, though. And obviously what we do with the Hydro product is so simple and easy to use, and you can feel it immediately. So if you compare it to, for example, like a supplement where you kind of got to hope it's working, you don't really know. If you use Hydro, you will feel it immediately. So that really helps. So players can kind of see it, use it, believe in it. Then they use it and they see the results. And often what's really important, and we found, is that you get an advocate in a club, and you someone like a senior player. So for example, like I mentioned Castleland Dragons, Sam Tompkins, obviously Man of Steel, one point say a legendary rugby league player. He was a big advocate for height training. It's like you got someone like Sam, then it becomes a no-brainer. And often that's quite important. And actually having individual players who advocate for the product is useful for that. So it's less resistance for a coach coming in, because ultimately we need to make coaches' lives easier. They don't want to be enforcing on a player. They actually want players coming to them, go, oh, have you heard about Hydro? Can we use some of that? Yeah. And that's what it's increasingly becoming as well.
Interesting. Okay. I was just, like, thoughts going through my mind then, thinking someone like a Cam Norrie, who's, like, super focused, have got to top 10 in the world, #1 British male tennis player, and then you've got teams of individuals who are, like, massive difference in age range as well. I can't remember the name of the player, but former Everton player who just retired at 41, and you think you've got people coming through, like, the academy ranks who are, like, teenagers. So very, very different. But if you get an advocate, like you say, Sam, who's been there, done it, that's a great way to grow the business. So talking a little bit more, action steps as well then to get to where you are now. Next obvious market is the US for you.
Yeah.
And again, how do you make a dent? You know, whenever you read stories about anybody in any industry trying to make a dent in the US, it's just such a vast landscape over there. And I'm assuming you go through the practitioners again, try and build the coaches network.
Yeah, very very much so. Try and do it in the most authentic way you can, or we can. So I'm flying out there this afternoon with Warren, and we've already got a number of meetings with NBA teams lined up and universities, and it's come through our network.
Right.
And we had that already. That's how we've already sold to the USA teams in the USA without really doing much. It's come through coach talking to coach, and it's actually authentically growing the business. We then obviously need to have a visible presence over there. So we've got kind of a plan of conferences. We need to be out there. We know it's very much a relationship game as well. So we need to be out there speaking to them, understanding their problems. How can we work with them? We need to have local knowledge in the team as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're hiring out
ground.
there. So you need boots on the ground. You need people who understand the market. So hiring is always a challenge as a startup, but that's one of the things we're doing at the our
the hardest thing. Everybody.
Yeah.
Whether it's Julian Hearn at Huel, Al
yeah.
Barrett at Grenade, also the same thing.
Yeah, and if you get it wrong at our stage, it can be really costly. So that's important. And then just backing it up with actually good kind of service to the team. So making sure that they're happy, they use it, they embed it. Yeah. So educate them and then tell the stories of how they're using it. It's very similar to kind of what we've done over here. Yeah. What we don't want to do is have kind of some kind of brands do this where you kind of pay to play and you don't know if they're using the product or not. That doesn't work for us. We want authentic use of the product. We want to see the results and we want to tell everyone about that. That's what we need. Got
it. And I'm sure you've thought of these things already, but do you look at going to like the MLB, or do you go to the NFL and you have those conversations to be the authorized, licensed,
Yeah, so it's slightly different over there in terms of that is an option. I think it's interesting how it's happened so far that we've kind of sold to individual teams in those leagues. I think we'd like to have those conversations, but I think there's a point we need to get slightly bigger to get their attention a little bit. It's interesting that we've had some of that attention from MLS actually. So it's getting there. I think next year, hopefully we can have some of those conversations. There's definitely a potential route to do a centralized deal in the US market that isn't kind of applicable over here. So you're absolutely on the money on that, but it's difficult to plan for those kind of things. You don't know what the possibility is just yet. So you kind of work the strategy. So you're trying for that, but actually if it doesn't work, you've got other routes as well.
Yeah. And who would you want to want to get on board in the US? Who would be like the top of your wish list?
I guess
if you're allowed such a thing.
I guess top of the wish list would be somebody who is known for their kind of dedication to recovery in particular, for their sport, who would be a great advocate is known for using BFR. So someone like LeBron James would be a fantastic person to get on board, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I read that you've said you'll never be ready to be a founder in a previous article. How have you coped with the unique challenges, which I can swear to myself, of founding, starting, and now, scaling a business?
Yeah, I think the difficulty with being a founder is you're always doing something that's unknown. You're always living in the chaos, right? And you're always looking for that clarity all the time, but then there's always something else.
If this conversation resonated with you, don't just sit there, act on it. Make sure you follow or subscribe for more game-changing conversations, and remember, the only thing standing between you and your business breakthrough is the decision to screw it and just do it.